You ever notice how change almost always begins with a quiet promise? You are lying in bed. The room is dark. Your phone is still glowing in your hand. And somewhere in your mind, you say the same sentence you have said many times before. Tomorrow will be different. Tomorrow I will wake up earlier. Tomorrow I will be focused. Tomorrow I will finally take control of my life. Then tomorrow arrives, and almost nothing changes. You wake up tired. The morning moves too fast. Notifications appear before your thoughts even settle. Your attention jumps from one thing to another. Messages, small tasks, distractions. By evening you feel strangely exhausted. Even though you cannot clearly explain what actually moved your life forward, days quietly become weeks. Weeks slowly become months. At some point, a question appears in the background of your mind. Am I actually moving forward, or am I simply repeating the same day? Here is the truth most people avoid. Life rarely changes because of one dramatic decision. It changes because of the small actions that repeat every day. Tiny habits. Quiet patterns. Small choices that look almost irrelevant in the moment. But those small choices accumulate. And over time, they shape the structure of your life far more than your big plans ever will. Think about it. If small habits can slowly create chaos, they can also slowly rebuild order. This is the part most people miss. They wait for motivation, discipline, or some perfect moment to begin. But real change usually starts with adjustments so small, they barely look important. And that is exactly why they work. Because small habits do not fight your life, they fit inside it. So the real question is not whether habits matter. The real question is which habits quietly control your days right now. Many people believe they lack discipline, but the problem is rarely discipline. The problem is structure. When your day has no structure, your mind automatically reacts to the loudest signal in the environment. Notifications, messages, demands from other people. Your attention becomes fragmented before the day even begins. And once that pattern repeats long enough, life starts to feel strangely chaotic, busy, but not meaningful, active, but not directed. This is what living on autopilot feels like. Not dramatic failure, just quiet repetition. But small habits can interrupt that loop. The first habit is almost invisible, yet it changes the tone of an entire day. It happens in the first moments after waking up. Most people reach for their phone before their mind even becomes fully awake. The brain immediately absorbs other people's priorities, messages, updates, headlines, noise. In that moment, your attention is no longer yours. The alternative is extremely simple. Pause. For a short moment after waking up, do nothing. No screen, no information, no reaction. Sit up. Breathe slowly. Drink water. Allow your mind to enter the day without interference. This small pause creates a psychological boundary. The day begins with awareness rather than reaction. And that boundary changes more than people expect. Because once the morning starts with intention, your brain no longer feels pulled in every direction. Now consider another habit that quietly restores mental clarity. Choose one meaningful task each morning, not a long list, not several priorities competing for attention. One task that genuinely matters. Ask yourself a simple question. If this one thing is completed today, will the day still feel productive? Many people feel overwhelmed not because they have too much work, but because everything feels equally urgent. The brain cannot prioritize when everything appears important. The result is mental noise. But when a single priority becomes clear, the mind relaxes. Focus replaces pressure. Progress becomes measurable again. This sounds small, but it changes the structure of your day. Another habit that often goes unnoticed is exposure to quiet space. Modern routines keep the brain surrounded by stimulation. Screens, sounds, messages, constant information. Over time, the mind becomes saturated. Step outside without headphones, without a phone, without input for a few minutes. The goal is not productivity. The goal is perspective. When attention finally leaves the noise of constant stimulation, the nervous system recalibrates. Breathing slows. Thoughts settle. Mental space returns. The effect is subtle, but subtle adjustments repeated every day gradually reshape how the brain processes stress. Many people who believe they are stuck are actually overstimulated. Their attention is simply overloaded. Now consider a habit that strengthens control during the middle of the day. Most people move from one task directly into the next. Work flows continuously without pause. The brain never resets. But focus requires intervals of recovery. After completing something meaningful, stop briefly. Take a slow breath. Ask one question. What actually matters next? Not what is loudest, not what is easiest. What matters? This moment interrupts automatic behavior. Autopilot loses its momentum. Once you begin noticing those automatic transitions, you gain the ability to redirect them. Another powerful habit happens at the end of the day. Before sleep, write down a few small things that went well. Not dramatic achievements. Simple moments. A task completed. A calm conversation. A short walk. A moment of clarity. The reason this works is neurological. The brain naturally focuses on threats and problems. Negative experiences leave stronger memory traces than positive ones. If positive moments are not intentionally acknowledged, the mind slowly constructs a distorted narrative where every day feels worse than it actually is. Recording small positive events interrupts that bias. The mind begins noticing progress instead of only pressure. Over time, that shift alters how life feels. Now consider the habit most people avoid entirely: regular self-examination. Every few days, ask a direct question. Which small behavior is quietly making my life harder? Not in theory. In reality. Late-night scrolling. Constant multitasking. Saying yes to every request. Switching attention too quickly. These behaviors rarely look dangerous. But repeated daily, they quietly erode clarity and energy. Once identified, they can be replaced with better patterns. Not through force, but through awareness. And awareness is where real change begins. Motivation fades quickly. Systems remain. Your future is not built in one dramatic moment. It forms gradually through repeated decisions. Morning after morning. Choice after choice. Habit after habit. So instead of attempting to redesign your entire life overnight, begin with one small adjustment. A quiet pause in the morning. A clear priority during the day. A moment of reflection before sleep. Small actions appear insignificant in the beginning. But over time, they create the difference between drifting through days and directing them. Life rarely transforms through sudden breakthroughs. It evolves quietly, one tiny habit at a time.